Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, Ted Turner. Success leaves clues, kids. I just named 5 of the greatest names in business in the last 150 years. And they all have one thing in common. They're ball busters. They're hard as nails. Where does that leave you? I still work 50, 60 hours a week. And I haven't had to work in 35 years. You're not willing to do anything. You're not willing to sacrifice anything to be a high-performance person.
I don't want to be like Dad.
No, most people don't.
I want to be liked.
Yeah, well, see, you want to fit in. I'm the only speaker that you're ever going to hear that really, with all his heart, doesn't give a shit. If I leave here you liking me, I did something wrong.
Anyone can sail in smooth waters. Anyone can dance when the music is playing.
So is it just a run in the rain? You tell me.
Remind yourself of what that door opening is going to feel like.
So I have dreams. Compulsions to be legendary, evolving from the imaginary, and it's near and it's real. I can see. In due time we realize that real life is defined by our own eyes. And I have blueprints to the skyline, it's just reality is built methodically, and overnight success you would never guess takes a long time. You have to cut lifelines and navigate landmines, but it's your move on your cue, just decide. So I sat there, thought about it. How long am I gonna go on about it? Put my shoes on, I said so long and went outside. Right through the field I used to run by, where the rows of sunflowers waist high, but it was different than what I envisioned. There weren't any road signs, or guidelines, or letters that said it's all just fine. It was just me adjusting as I made my way to the sunrise. Then I paused. On the ground below me was a little door. I knocked slowly, was pretty scared, maybe ill-prepared, but we get one life only. So I opened the hatch, looked down, and it's pitch black, no sound. And if you don't choose any road will do. I've been riding logistical merry-go-rounds and my eyes are wide. Restless soul with scores to settle from years ago. I know that there's more cause I told me so. I'm going down the rabbit hole.
Getting your business funded is a lengthy process with the banks, and it can take weeks before getting an answer. ProfitFX works with the best in the finance industry to bring you an unrivaled business funding solution for South African businesses. Our funding partners have funded millions in the last year in support of growing your business and our economy. Get in touch with your talk show host to request more information. A trade history of 3 years or more and an annual turnover of 1 million rand or more is required. Terms and conditions apply.
The champ is here! 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 The champ is here!
Good afternoon and welcome to Bull Market Stock Show. This is your host Rian Hobson, and we're doing actually a very important podcast or live podcast, and that is now on the US elections, which is actually officially now today, the 3rd of November, where people will select the Democratic Party to lead America or the Republican Party. Now, basically, the elections goes around Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Now, excuse me, there are certain things you must say on Joe Biden's side, there counts a lot. Especially people are basically forecasting that due to a surge in the new-time voters or first-time voters, there could be a possibility that Joe Biden will be pushed over the edge. Also on the other side, most of the time, or basically in every single elections, the Republicans get between 55% and 60% of the white vote in America. Now, let's say the Republicans are getting 60% of the white vote, so which means the Democrats sits with 40% of the white vote. Now, the big part of the elections comes then in with the black vote. So the black vote is actually the most important part of the puzzle when it comes to the US elections. Now, with all the stories, with Black Lives Matter that happened before the elections and still continuing to happen, and the whole racial story comes on now for a very long time, since the time of Barack Obama. But what I picked up is one, as I forecast in the 2016 elections, that the demographic effect of the United States and the slogan that Donald Trump used, "Make America Great Again," spoke directly to the older citizens of the United States. So that is where I based my forecast on actually in 2016, and said that Trump will win the elections. Well, he did. Now, one thing that I picked up in my research for the last few weeks regarding the elections is that I wanted to know why Republicans or why people vote for the Republicans. And one, especially now the white people. And one thing that came up every single time is their faith or religion, and is the gun policy or the Second Amendment. So that is the main reason. Obviously, then you have your economy, that is now the tax cuts and those type of things. Most of the time, the Republicans are very lenient when it comes to tax. So they normally goes in for a tax cut. The Democrats on the other side likes to increase the taxes. Now, but two of the most important values is that First Amendment and that Second Amendment. Right. So that are the two things. That's why your white people in America, which is the largest part of the US, is keep on voting for the Republicans. Now, what about the black vote? Because that is where the main story is. Now, what I know during Barack Obama in 2016, why was the vote not so massive for the black vote? In Hillary's elections, she lost with 88% of the black vote. Now, there's a steady decline over the years on the Democrat side when it comes to the black vote. It happens under Barack Obama. It steadily declines under the black vote is giving up basically on the Democrats. So basically, the Republicans can bank on that 55 to 60% vote of the white vote of the United States. The decider will be the black vote. Now, as I said, since the time of Barack Obama, the first elections, it was a big black vote. His second elections, it's starting to decline. In Hillary's elections, it actually came up to 88%. Trump actually got an 8% black vote in 2016. Now, the big question is, why is the decider of the black vote moving slowly away from the Democrats? Now, that is where the big story comes in. Because you must all remember, faith and the gun control story, or the Second Amendment, Trump is literally protecting that. Now, when it comes to the gun control, or I would say with the Second Amendment, so the faith is the First Amendment, or the religion. Second Amendment is the gun control. So I will do the gun control, the Second Amendment story. Now, Hillary Clinton was extremely aggressive when it got to she wants actually, I would say, to amend the Second Amendment and try to have more restrictions on guns. Now that is America. There's over 300 million guns in the United States. Now, this is actually the best part. There's about over 300, say nearly 400 million guns in the United States. And I'm not saying every single United States citizens own one gun. So obviously a family can sit with about 4 or 5 guns. And then you have second with the highest guns for individuals or for citizens is India with about 71 million, and then China with 50 million. Now, if you look at the population ratio between the United States than China and India. US have more guns combined, India and China. So the United States people, or the people in the United States, love their guns, and rightfully so. A lot of people disagree with that. I personally agree with that. If people, individuals, can have their own guns. Because I always come to this point. The police plays catch up when it comes to crime. For example, you get shot at your house, or a house breaking, or something happened. You get shot. The police come afterwards when you are dead. So what can you do to prevent yourself from dying? And that is where I actually stand with America when it comes to the Second Amendment. There is no way that any country can provide police for every single household. That is not possible. So obviously the police will play catch up. So what can you do as a citizen, not just in the United States, but in South Africa? Now the gun laws in South Africa is terrible. Now there's one thing that I regret not completing, is actually to get my firearm in South Africa. The regulation to own a firearm in South Africa is insane. It is literally insane. Now, back to America. The Americans, you can buy a gun at anywhere in the United States. And I believe it's your right to defend yourself. There comes a house breaking, whatever happens, you have a right to shoot. Now, I believe you must, when you break into someone's house, you must actually walk into an avalanche of bullets. And that is what I agree with when it comes to the Second Amendment. Because the police will not protect you. That is not possible. It is impossible. So, what do you do in that time when someone broke into your house? You need to run to phone 911. You already did by then. So first kill the bastard, and then you phone 911, or in South Africa, 10-111. Because you need to defend yourself, and your right to defend yourself is extremely important in that Second Amendment. Now, the Second Amendment is a very old, actually, bill in the United States that comes on from 1791. And you must now look at it. From 1791 until now, that bill was never been touched. Never. Maybe amended here and there. But that bill is there to protect so that you can protect yourself. So that is a very old bill. The First and the Second Amendment, which is now your faith, which I will come later to. But your Second Amendment stretched from 1971. And whoever comes close to that bill, that Second Amendment, you will not win the elections. And that is what Joe Biden wants to do. He will not win the elections when it comes to this. You want to touch the Second Amendment, you are done. Nobody touched that bill. And that is very clear in the amount of black voters no longer interested into the Democrats. Slowly but surely, they're moving towards the Republicans. And lastly, before I go to the break, during the Barack time in office, the most guns were actually bought during that 8 years. Because he was starting in his last term, he was starting to talk about gun control. And when you talk about gun control, people buy up guns because they know you are messing with the Second Amendment. And believe me, nobody, if you talk against that Second Amendment, you are done. But I will clear out more points when it gets to the gun policy in the United States and the Second Amendment of the United States. I will just take a short break, and then I'll be back with you with some more information regarding my prediction of the U.S. elections tonight.
The champ is here!
elusive, godlike feature that only the special among us will ever taste. You know, it's something that truly exists in all of us. It's very simple. This is what I believe, and I'm willing to die for it. Yeah. Period.
I came from the bottom, but I'm climbing to the top. Like some test of your will. How much faith do you got? Your foot's on the line. Will you ever take a shot and score the game? Winning points when it's zeros to clock. I've came to find that life's a test. There's no cheating either. Just work and stress. If no money's provided, you're eating less. Bills on the table and pain in your chest. You promise you'll pay for the things that you can't. You want the whole world, but it's burning in your hands. You ask for help, no one hears you in the stands. A crowd full of friends you can never call fam. They love you then, but they don't love you now. Your whole life seems to be crashing down. You never feel safe when there's no one around. So if you feel like giving up, you gotta stand your ground. No one else can ever try to tell you otherwise. So stop trying to be just like them other guys. Fake the haters who living to see you feeling like. And fuck the coaches who judge it cause of the shape of size. If you ever wanna make it, you gotta show effort and show dedication and crave it like basically nothing else matters. But getting that paper and that education, just take it from me. I ain't doing this shit. The rap with a mouth full of gold teeth. That'll show the whole world that my chain ain't soldiers. Let the world know I'm an OG. No, I do this for my fam, for my city, and for me. Cause honestly, I throw a middle finger up to those who don't. So when you want it, get it, don't ever give up. You got it, you wanna make it, then chase it. No one can stop you, they're gonna hate you, but let them hate you, that's fine. Cause if they stand in your way, then you gotta leave them behind. But if you want it, get it, don't ever give up. You got it, you wanna make it, then chase it. No one can stop you, they're gonna hate you, but let them hate you, that's fine. Cause if they stand in your way, then you gotta leave them behind. People will always try to bring you down, but that's a part of life. Imaginary action when they see your name up in the lights. Ignore the gossip and nonsense you're hearing on the daily. Cause if it gets to your head, then you'll only end up failing. Just be the best that you can. Only those who love you will be there in the end. Stick with those in your defense and leave alone your phony friends. Stay on track, don't fall behind. Either chase your goals or fall in line. Bullshitting's only a waste of your time, so go with your gut and stay on your grind. I wanna wake up the world. Someone's gotta hear my message. This is food for your thought. Take it as easy ingestion. I won't leave you in question. Just a lasting impression. I'm trying to speak the truth, so take heed to my lessons. This is honestly the most honest things I've said in a while. In life you'll always be judged. Eternal circles of trials. Just keep your head up and never ever fall to denial. You're finally on the clock, meaning your time is now. You want it, get it, don't ever give up. You got it, you wanna make it, then chase it. No one can stop you, they're gonna hate you, but let them hate you, that's fine. Cause if they stand in your way, then you gotta leave them behind. But if you want it, get it, don't ever give up. You got it, you wanna make it, then chase it. No one can stop you, they're gonna hate you, but let them hate you, that's fine. Cause if they stand in your way, then you gotta leave them behind.
Be the kind of trader who sees the big picture. The world is changing around you. Global threats push gold, the safe haven asset, to higher prices each and every day. Now's your chance to start trading gold. Just go to capex.com and register to get up to a $5,000 bonus on your first deposit. Simply use GOLD5000 as a promo code and you're good to go. Capex.com proudly welcomes you to the next level trading experience. Register now and start taking full advantage of the new gold rush. Terms and conditions apply. Exposure to gold obtained via contracts for difference, which are leveraged products and incur a high level of risk. Capex.com is operated by JME Financial Services, Pty Ltd, an authorized financial services provider.
The champ is here! 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 The champ is here!
Good afternoon and welcome to Bull Market Stock Show. This is your host Rian Hobson, and we're doing actually the US elections today, where faith and religion or guns is actually playing a very important part in this US elections. Now, just before I go to for today's topic, I can see actually the market is on the Trump train. The Dow Jones is up by 1.3%. The S&P 500 is up by 1.2%. percent. The Nasdaq is up by 0.5%. And if I can just look at the currency side, the euro is in the green, British pound is in the green. Funny enough, Australia that cut their interest rates this morning is also up. New Zealand is also up. Even the South African rand is actually strengthening severely, and the dollar is actually getting a punishment. So it shows clearly that the market is actually on the Trump train and expecting a Trump victory, because if Joe Biden really leads in the polls, which the people are really not convinced by these polls, then it would show that then the market would be in the red if things would, if really Joe Biden is leading the polls. So the people are not believing on the polls, and people are literally on the Trump train and buying the commodities up. Now, the thing is, when it comes to the U.S. elections, and there's a pattern that I actually picked up, and that is the amount of guns that is being bought. Now, somehow that gives you an indication that Americans are taking their freedoms back and buy their guns to protect themselves and their families. Under Barack Obama especially, the people of the United States bought more guns than under the Trump regime, which sounds funny, because on the outside world, people were saying Trump is scary, blah, 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 but people bought less guns. Under Barack, the people didn't feel safe, because what Barack did, he actually, I would say, defund actually the military, where Trump came in and literally pushed a $2 trillion US dollar, or over $2 trillion US dollar, a defense package, basically, to beef up the military. So it tells a story, the amount of guns that actually get bought and when. Also, very importantly, in 2016, where Hillary looked like she would win the elections hands down, it looked like 100% probability for Hillary to win the elections. And she actually spoke aggressively on the terms of gun control in the United States. Funny enough, the elections came out that Donald Trump won, which was a surprise victory for a lot of people across the world, because everybody, or I would say most of the people, banked on a Hillary victory. Now, funny enough, when I looked at the data when it comes to guns, in 2016, the most guns were bought at about 28 million guns that were bought in 2016. And that is all to do because Hillary was talking against the Second Amendment. And with that, 4 million, although 28 million were bought in that year, 4 million was new users of the guns. And if you look at the trend also, the black vote was retreating under Hillary and went for Donald Trump, although it was just 8%. But they were retreating, and 4 million new guns were actually bought. So that says a lot. And as I explained to you earlier, more people bought guns under Barack Obama, and less guns were sold under Donald Trump. Now, in this last year, this year, with the COVID story and all this nonsense, in the first 7 months of this year in the United States, more than 20 million guns were sold. And out of that 20 million, which is a record, in 7 months, 20 million guns were sold. And 5 million of them, out of that 20 million, was new gun users. Because the same story is happening where the polls are showing now that Joe Biden is winning, and people are literally taking back their freedoms. Now, also with the pandemic, people need to get locked down. People didn't trust the story, so they bought their guns. And people all of a sudden understand that I have still my Second Amendment rights, so I can still go buy my gun and protect myself. The other problem also why people bought guns was because of the Black Lives Matter protest. and people were buying their guns to protect themselves. It has nothing to do with whose lives or who. If you burn stuff, and everybody was saying, yeah, the protesting was peaceful, or most of it was peaceful. Nonsense. People understand, people were on the ground, and people bought their guns. Now, most of these states where these Black Lives Matter protests occurred was in areas where not much guns were sold. You didn't see these protests of Black Lives Matter in Texas, because if you burn stuff in Texas, you will be dead. And these gun sales plays a very important part in the idea of how important the Second Amendment is of the United States, is to protect yourself and your family. And that is key for the US citizens. Because as I explained earlier, under Barack, they bought more. It has nothing to do with skin color, as what everybody would always assume. If you look at the facts, when you get to Barack Obama, they spent less on military under the Barack Obama era. Under Donald Trump, which people feel much safer, they closed the border, he spent more on military, people felt much safer and bought less guns. It's not that Americans did not buy guns, they bought less guns and less ammunition during the Trump era, or his 4 years in office. But during Barack, they bought a lot. It's because he had a very weird immigration policy where people can just come into the country. And then on top of that, he has very weak border control. So the people did not feel safe. And also, as I mentioned, the army was also the problem, where he literally defunded the army. And the same story is today, where Joe Biden and the Black Lives Matter people are talking about defunding the police. So if you talk of language of defunding the police and you are protesting where you're breaking the law, people will buy more guns. And Americans are not stupid. So they will buy these guns to defend themselves. And I think that is also where new voters come in, where they need to register, because you have new gun owners and you have new voters all of a sudden. And the new gun owners sit at about 5 million, or the first time users. And now you have first time voters also that rose actually sharply. Although people say it could be in favor of Joe Biden, I absolutely doubt that, because I think that could be the 5 million users or new gun users are the ones who are voting to protect that Second Amendment. If you touch that in the United States, I can guarantee you, you will lose the elections, because in the last term of Barack, and I think that is where people were fed up. They were saying, oh, hell no, not another year of Democrats with these gun laws that they want to enforce on people. And there's a lot of videos on YouTube where people will say clearly, don't come for my gun, because that is what makes America, to protect themselves and their family. So if you come for that, you can guarantee yourself you will lose the elections. As simple as that. And now the second part is the black vote. I personally think that Trump will get 20% of the black vote, not just based on the Second Amendment, but also on the First Amendment. I will just take a short break, and then I'll be back with you with some more information regarding my prediction for this elections today.
The champ is here! 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 The champ.
Look, I'm exhausted, Had it all figured out and I lost it. They say that's the cost, but it just feels like a lot. Stop, are you going or not? I miss certainty, miss the 9 to 5s, knowing exactly where I need to be and why I'm not built for this. Progress moves in slow motion, they're out making money and getting promotions, saying all the right things, pulling all the right levers, while I sit here, write my future self love letters. Who's winning? Is this the end or beginning? 'Cause I'm starting to feel like reality's slipping, and bank accounts, they aren't very forgiving, and life on edge feels like falling, not living. If effort brings victory, what am I missing? Nothing good comes easy. When we have to, we push through, not knowing completely. You're here because you're made for this next level, taking these places that most people won't. Start embracing it. Who cares what they do? They're not you. You'll go through more now than you think you're supposed to, but that shows you can cope with the highs and the lows, because you rose to be more. Could have run away, could have avoided the thorns, could have been comfortable. Blood, sweat, and tears, they're expendable. No more pretending, man, build something memorable. Don't drink from their cup or by stories they tell, because when all their time's up, you'll have dug your own well. You didn't use lifelines, you're topped off for a lifetime, so drop all those one-liners. We'll get them next time. No, this time is your time, and whatever you decide will end up being real life. No stop signs, just storylines. This whole thing is a misunderstanding, a miscalculation. Jumped and missed the landing. I'm mystified, I can waste so much time. These ovations are strictly imagination, not standing. So much for planning, guess fate left without me. Those failure statistics, yeah, they'll be about me. Was overly optimistic, forgot the logistics. Guess we all learn sometime, don't we? Good is not good enough. No, how long do I stay down before I let go? I buried my pride and took it inside, but never enough. It takes a toll, it gets old getting told you've got miles of road left to go. You're alone with this future unknown. Just go home. Just go home, it's safe there. Yeah, I'll find some embrace there. Look, it's time to admit defeat, a humble retreat. Check the box and complete to my core. Intrinsically, it's not for me, I can't do this. I knew this is how it would be. No fame, no fortune, no names on marquees, just running in place every day on repeat. This is the world I want to see, where everything's taken with no guarantees. No, come on, man, pick your head up. Go back inside, half a life's learning to get up. How can I make you see that you have everything you need, and what you want to be is never out of reach? Fate deceives sometimes, but destiny's calling, so can't let the phone ring. You know there's no all-knowing. Go level up, no letdowns. Let the world in, push fear out. It's self-belief, it starts right now. When hell freezes, you lay down. But until then, it's your town, it's your story, it's your crown. Live in the clouds, feet on the ground. They stand still, you run around. Go mesmerize, where they socialize. There's dollar signs to be maximized. If you live it right, regret nothing. Loud applause, the sweetest sound. And this moment won't happen again, and never becomes forever unless you choose to begin. So see greatness in each step, and power and progress. Your future, yeah, that's limitless, it's infinite. Don't forget you want this.
Getting your business funded is a lengthy process with the banks, and it can take weeks before getting an answer. ProfitFX works with the best in the finance industry to bring you an unrivaled business funding solution for South African businesses. Our funding partners have funded millions in the last year in support of growing your business and our economy. Get in touch with your talk show host to request more information. A trade history of 3 years or more and an annual turnover of 1 million rand or more is required. Terms and conditions apply.
The champ is here! 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 The champ is here!
Good afternoon and welcome to Boom Markets Talk Show. This is your host, Rian Opson, and we're doing actually the US elections. And I'm just explaining my forecast and why I'm actually saying that Donald Trump will win the elections, although you guys know I'm a Trump fan. But I was doing some research for the last few weeks and to check what is important for the people of the United States. Now, as I said, in 2016, I actually predicted the Trump victory, although a lot of people said, that will not be possible. And boom, that happens. Trump was the president. And I think this time around, I think it will be much better. Now, the thing is as I said earlier, it is the black vote. The black vote is the main decider. Now, as I explained with the Second Amendment, that is to secure basically the 55%, between 55 and 60% of the white vote that normally votes for the Republicans. Now, the big thing is the black vote. Now, if you listen to a lot of black people when they are talking about Trump, they would talk more in favor of, I would say, obviously, a lot of people are still Democrat. But for Biden to win this elections, he needs nothing less than over 90% of the black vote, because that will push him over the edge. So he needs a massive black vote. And as I said, slowly but surely, the black vote actually moves away to the Republicans. Now, there's a lot of things under Trump that actually worked for black people, which is the lowest unemployment. Also, when it comes to they call it opportunity zones, the criminal reform that he did. So there's a lot of things in favor that Trump did for the black people. And it's not that black people don't see this. There's also one guy, I don't follow him, but I was surprised now the other day. He's quite a large following. Also a black guy that interview black people and always talk about black excellence in the United States. And he was talking in favor of Donald Trump, which was a total surprise to me, where he said Joe Biden, and he and T.I., the rapper, was talking. And he and T.I. said that Joe Biden did more harm. Joe Biden did more harm to black people than Donald Trump. And this guy, by my surprise, was talking about the things about the civil rights movement that Trump actually supported with Jesse Jackson and them. And that sellout, Al Sharpton, who's actually now against Trump, and he was the first one who was getting his donations from Trump, actually, in the civil rights movement. Now, slowly but surely, black people are moving towards the Republicans. Now, polls shows that Trump might collect about 20% or over 100% of the vote of the black vote. If I compare to 8% in 2016, people are saying now 20% will actually vote for Donald Trump, so which is over 100% gain. That means that Joe Biden will only get 80% of the vote, which is not good. He needs, actually, because Hillary lost. You must remember, Hillary lost with 88% of the black vote. He can't afford to have an 80% black vote. Then it means Trump will win with a landslide. Now, other approvals or polls shows that Trump might get between 45 and 36%, or 36 to 45% of the black vote, which is a massive number. If that is the case, then Trump will win with a landslide. Now, why is people moving towards the Republicans or to Donald Trump? Now, one could be the Second Amendment, but which I doubt, because it's not a lot of black people are actually interested in guns. But one thing that was really striking to me, if I listen to the people that are going to the Trump rallies and talking about Donald Trump, they all talk about the First Amendment. And that is their faith and religion. The same applies to the Latino vote. Now, one thing that is striking, and what they're talking about all the time, is the abortion rules. Now, under the Democrats and the devil, Barack Obama, you can actually abort a child in 9 months. Literally. You can still abort a child. It is basically a human being. and you can still abort a child. Now, there's a massive debate that goes on in the United States, and this story will go to the Supreme Court. And funny enough, the Democrats are not happy with Amy, who's now sitting, Judge Amy, that sits now at the Supreme Court, and she's a conservative and a Catholic. And believe me, if that abortion bill goes to her, you can guarantee yourself that she will punch holes into that argument. Now, the argument goes, is it because the child is a fetus or is he a human? Because obviously, if he's a human, then it means he must get human rights. Now, also on the other side, or not the child, the baby that is in the mother's womb, but also on the other side, you have the rights of the woman who carries this child. And a lot of people say, a lot of women is actually in the United States are saying, listen here, but you violating my body by making rules based on my body. On the other side of the argument is that your body also carry another human. Now, the main thing is, can we say the baby in the mother's womb is a human or is it a fetus? So when can we decide, or how will we get to the conclusion to say, okay, the baby in the mother's womb is actually a human? Is it when the heart is beating, or if you can see the arms, or all of those things? Because abortion, Trump is actually pro-life, as what he will always say. He's pro-life, so which means he's in defense of that unborn child. The Democrats don't give a hell. They will abort the child. Now, we all know abortions is wrong, whether you are Democrat, Republican, or whatever. We all know abortions is wrong. But also we need to come to the conclusion, not to the conclusion, but also the debate stretch on by saying, okay, if the female is raped, what do you do in that instance? Obviously, the child, the woman was raped, that is a bit of a touchy one. So obviously, most of the time it will go for abortion. Also, the other part comes in, what if the woman has a difficult time carrying the baby? What do you do then? So there's a big argument that goes on in the United States regarding abortions. But the Republicans feel that the unborn child must be viewed as a human. Because once he's viewed as a human and no longer as a fetus, then it means that that unborn child will automatically get human rights. And on the other side, you can't also tell the woman what to do with her body. But on the other side also, she's carrying a human. So that is what the debate is about. But when it comes to the black vote, and the Latino, or the Latinos and the black people are very religious people, not much into guns, but very religious people. And that is striking when you hear black people talking. It's straight about abortions. Straight. The first point that they put out is that the Republicans is pro-life, and they will actually say it also that they are pro-life. And as time went on under Barack Obama, people started to leave the Democrats because of the story of pro-life. Trump made also that's why he got actually 8% of the vote in 2016, when he said Hillary is there, that she wants actually to rip the child out of the mother's womb. Because in 9 months, if you still can abort the child, then there needs to be question marks there. Because the child, obviously for 9 months is a very long time. It means that the mother can maybe get a seizure or something to get birth, and you can still have an abortion. And that is what the Republicans or Donald Trump is arguing, that needs to stop. They understand in a crisis of whether the mother or the mother is had a rape incident, and also on the other part of when the woman can't actually carry the child. They do understand that. But also with a woman that carries a child, is there other alternatives to actually to protect the child? Because also you must remember the reason why the Republicans are so over the unborn child is because also the US has a terrible birth rate. And if this continue, you will see the story of Japan and in China, where economic growth is slow and all of those and all the complications that goes with a slow birth rate. And the US or the Republicans don't want to see that. And also they are totally against abortions. And there's a lot of churches in the United States, especially also the black people, that are against this story of abortions, and they feel it's a violation of their beliefs. And I do think the game changer will be the black vote, and straight it will go through to the point of the abortion rule, that they don't want to have abortions easily and quickly done in the United States. And that's how they are actually feeling. So with that said, I think Donald Trump might get between 20 and 36% of the black vote, and that will give Donald Trump a landslide victory tonight. Maybe you agree with me, or maybe not, but that is up to you. And I just feel that Donald Trump will win tonight's elections. So that is it from my side. All the best with election traders, but I think personally I'll put my money on a Donald Trump victory. Bye-bye.